Hello everyone, hope you are all doing as well as possible. This video contains mentions of child abuse and financial abuse. This is an ongoing investigation. Not all legal outcomes are known or final, and all suspects are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. All right, so Kendra and Joseph are now back together under one roof without their children. Kendra's next court date is April 29th, and Joseph's is May 18th. Their children are still in protective custody, which I'm assuming means foster care. And since the kids are all still minors, my understanding is that those records are supposed to be sealed and not available through FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act. All right, now on to the plot twist, for lack of a better word, that I mentioned in my last video. So there is now an all-out feud between the Duggars and Kendra's family, the Caldwells. In order for all of this to make sense, you have to understand the role that real estate and small businesses play in insular communities like these. Next to the TV show, Jim Bob's main source of income has been through real estate, property management, and car dealerships, and several of his sons have followed suit. The part of Arkansas where they all live is very rural. So the idea of owning a lot of land and renting out property on it is a bit more common and feasible than in suburban or urban areas. And you can see how a man like Jim Bob Duggar would jump at the opportunity to toss financial abuse and landlord power into the mix. So, up until Kendra and Joseph's arrests, Kendra's parents and their 8 children were renting property from the Duggars. After Kendra and Joseph's arrest, the Caldwells were given a 30-day eviction notice. The Caldwells created a GoFundMe page trying to raise money for legal fees without giving too many details, but the page kept getting taken down. The timing of all this seemed odd to me, so I did some more digging, and I decided to watch some other Duggar-related videos by YouTubers and content creators I trust and get their takes on it. I was starting to draw a conclusion, and I am not alone in this suspicion. Now, under normal circumstances, I do not out victims of abuse without their consent, but these are not normal circumstances, and the reality is the victim's identity is going to come out during the court proceedings. I am not doing this gleefully. I am not out to get anyone. There is nothing in this for me in terms of clout or monetary gain. And I hope that by now you understand that I take my platform seriously, and I am by no means perfect, but I do my due diligence, and I do all of this in good faith. There is growing, sincere, serious suspicion in the Fundy survivor community that the 14-year-old victim is Kendra's younger sister. As I continue to cover the situation, hopefully you'll understand that, again, Fundy survivors are discussing this part of things in good faith. As I learned about the history of the Duggars and the Caldwells, this theory began to make more and more sense. The two families were close for years. Paul Caldwell was the founding pastor of Lighthouse Baptist Church in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and he officiated at 2 Duggar weddings, Joanna's and Joseph's. And the two families had gone on vacation together many times. The two patriarchs' friendship began to crumble in 2020, which was when Joseph's abuse incident took place. And it's on public record that Joseph confessed to the victim's father at the time of the incident. Now, by this point, Josh Duggar was under federal investigation, for possession of child porn, as I've mentioned in other videos. Jim Bob was getting more and more paranoid and trying to keep his family out of the spotlight. Paul Caldwell was not protecting / enabling him in the ways that he wanted. And Jim Bob legally owned both the church and the Caldwells' home, and he evicted them. Kendra's mother was pregnant at the time. Joseph and Kendra had a house on their property, which they sold to Kendra's parents for $10,000. Last year, Joseph and Kendra parceled off the land, essentially transferring ownership of the house back to them without informing Kendra's parents. So they had no idea that their home legally did not belong to them anymore. In a previous video, I discussed Kendra and Joseph's jail phone call from March 25th. And since then, I've watched other videos with more audio fragments from that phone call, which I will link down below. In those fragments, Kendra and Joseph discussed evicting her family, and Kendra was disturbingly gleeful about it. In this context, the Caldwells trying to raise money for legal fees makes perfect sense. And it's also worth noting that Kendra and Joseph have been digitally removed from Caldwell family photos on social media. If I'm wrong about all of this, please show me another way to connect the dots that make sense. Because as a Fundy escapee who lived through this and knows this world and studies cults extensively, this is the only theory that makes sense to me. And I'll be honest, by now I'm getting increasingly annoyed with non-Fundy survivors who think they know everything about how this world works and think they are qualified to do in-depth coverage on it. People who haven't lived through this will never know as much as people who have firsthand experience. I know I'm going to get heat for this video, and mark my words, most of it is going to be from non-Fundy survivors. I cannot emphasize this enough. Survivors and non-survivors have very different perceptions of what's going on here. All right, that is more than enough for one video. As always, I will keep you posted and get my videos finished and aired as soon as I reasonably can. All right, thanks for watching. Please share far and wide so we can finally destroy the patriarchy. All right, take care, guys. Bye. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a huge favor and hit the thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon. Like you trout. Bye.